Dirty Secrets of Small Business. I'm Adam Sonhalter.
And I'm Jack Mancini with Maximum Value Partners, MVP. That stands for Most Valuable Player, if you really think about it, and that's what we are. We help business owners, small, not small, 4'2", owners of small companies. Help them get
all
unstuck.
shapes and sizes. We're non-discriminatory from that standpoint.
That's right. Hey, if you own a business, don't you dare wrestle with all those how questions. Call us, honestly. We've helped hundreds and no thousands. We have the solutions. You just give us a call. Can have a lot of fun with it too.
That's right. You can catch us live here in the studio. We're here right now every Monday from noon to 1 Eastern. The number here in the studio is 440-946-9468. Again, 440-946-WINT. As we said in our first segment, we have a special guest here with us today, and Marcia Pledger is sticking around with us here. And we were talking about, as we went to break, about a couple of common themes. The 450 plus entrepreneurs she talked to in terms of a couple of them. She mentioned two of them. One was in terms of planning, whether they should do it or how to do it or not doing it, and then the other one was kind of trust, whether you're trusting too much.
That's another big one.
All right, so why don't you give us a couple different stories? I know you got some good stories you can kind of share with us, and maybe you don't need to give the names. It's okay, but some good stories about folks, and maybe again where they.
Sure, I'll give you one on trust. One comes to mind. It was a woman who had been in business for a decade herself, owning a dry cleaners, and she needed a new challenge. A lot of mistakes, as you know, happen with the growth phase, and so she had been going as a customer, going to an Asian grocery store for about that long, about a decade, 3 or 4 times a month. So she thought she knew the guy she was buying the business from, and she didn't do her due diligence because she trusted the guy. And what she thought she was buying was goodwill. The customer, she had been in there a few times a month for a decade herself as a customer, and all she did was buy a bunch of headaches. She didn't do any due diligence, and when she got that business, it was just so many headaches. It was everything from the vendors. He had a bad reputation, a lot of debt. She hadn't checked any of that out. Even the landlord was a challenge. 2 months later, she found herself moved because they wouldn't renew the lease. And the list goes on. Then the name had to be changed. And then within a year, the partner left her, and yeah, she turned it around, but it wasn't easy. That's one example of a trust.
Did she write a big check to get into that thing? She paid this former owner, and he kind of went away and left all his troubles. Wow, yeah. Sounds pretty similar.
I think, go on.
No, it sounds similar to a story we heard when we first started doing this. There was a guy, he bought a company as a box manufacturer. And the second generation, and the son was selling it to him, and it was steady. He did some diligence. It was pretty steady. Maybe doing $500,000 or so in sales a year for the last 10 years, and doing nice steady cash flow. A couple things he didn't tell him though. One was that his biggest customer was building a box manufacturing plant next door. That they were gonna, all of a sudden it goes from $500,000 to $300,000 in sales, and then there was a bunch of scrap from that guy. Okay, so he had free product to kind of use for other people, right? So also he lost a bunch more customers for that. And then the third thing was he had kind of a consulting agreement with the former owner, and he paid him that day one. So the guy showed up day one, and then he didn't show up again. So he started chasing this guy around. So he'd probably been a good story for you.
Yeah, for sure.
But unfortunately, he didn't recover. We tried to we got them to a little bit too late. But one of the things that Jack and I help a lot of people do is help them go about buying companies, be able to buy them right. Because you're right. If you get into it wrong, it can be tough. So, but it sounds like this woman was able to salvage it. All the headaches she went through between having bad vendors, between and relationships with with their landlord, with a bad name in general. Okay, so she was able to salvage all that stuff and still come out ahead.
Right.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, it didn't happen overnight.
No.
Yeah, she had to make a lot of changes.
Well, if you don't trust somebody, or if you do trust somebody, and you aren't going to be paying a lot of cash down, that's okay. You can do a deal.
Right.
You don't need a lot of due diligence if that person obviously is trustworthy. And if you're buying a company and you pay a lot of money down and don't do diligence, that's when you get in big trouble. But you can buy companies without putting money down. You know that? Did you come across anyone who did that?
Not much.
Not many. Yeah, most people don't think of it like that.
Right.
But you can, if a company's in trouble, you can buy it usually at a pretty good rate, and you don't have to guarantee stuff. And there's a lot of opportunities out there like that.
All right, so that's
one in terms of trust. In terms of trusting too much, but then a lot of times people don't trust their employees. It's that small businesses, they're baby, so they didn't micromanage too much, and then you run into issues I've seen.
Yeah, they don't want to. Part of it is if they don't want to, or they don't know how to let people in.
Okay.
And we a lot of clients we talked about this in terms of, it starts with like, you mentioned with big companies, all of a sudden all their stuff's out there, right? You go pull filings and see how much they're making in terms of revenue and profits, and you can even see what the top executives make in terms of salary and bonus, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Well, small companies, they tend to hold it very close to the vest. And what Jack and I discovered, it isn't that they aren't evil, these curmudgeonly old men or women. It's just they don't understand their numbers usually.
Okay.
Or they don't use them per se.
Yeah.
And so the last thing you want to do if you're the owner is get up in front of your team, and they're going to ask you a question.
They're going to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
They're going to be,
Right.
So they don't put themselves in that situation. To your point, they hold it close and they don't like to share, so they become curmudgeonly. They don't really.
Yeah.
And in today's businesses, people want to know. People want to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
They
I'm not
always
asking
did.
for help though. With that, I saw that a lot in terms of things. In so many different ways, I was fortunate to talk to so many humble entrepreneurs because they don't have to talk to me. What do they really get out of it? Other than goodwill and sharing and saving somebody else some possible drama. You're still going to make your own mistakes, but why not? What better way to learn from someone else's if you can? But in terms of not planning, I know you guys have a different take on planning, but when I said you could have some planning, I met everybody from people who were come from privileged backgrounds, let's just say, to, or highly educated, or, had businesses passed on, to people who, this one guy comes to mind who, no high school diploma, ex-offender, and he told a lot, drugs, and the list goes on, but he started a car detailing business, and he didn't want people to know what he didn't know. So, everything from paying people to the table to not incorporating right, till a couple of years that you got fines, and the list goes on and on and on. And the big thing was he didn't want to, it was the opposite end. He didn't want anybody to know what you didn't know. None of us know. None of us know what we don't know.
That's right. I mean, it's very perplexing, You don't know what you don't know. So where do you start?
Yeah, and he finally started hanging out with successful business owners and reaching out for help. Different small business organizations, and just, I need help, and have some things turned around for him.
Yeah, because usually it's not one big fatal mistake, or it's a bunch of little things, and then it starts to add up, and you're like, oh wait, I've been doing that thing wrong for so many years, or again, it's hard. We talk to people about having to respect what they don't know, and appreciate that. Some people learn that faster. I remember we were at lunch. Early on, we were at some lunch downtown. It was one of those, I think it was like a 30 under 30 or 20 under 20 kind of thing. And there's some young 20-year-olds, and it's always fun to watch Jack interact with 20-year-olds, because often they misunderstand Jack, or they don't appreciate the great wisdom he's got, right?
Yeah.
So these two are working for a pretty good sized corporation, and they had this idea that they were trying to share with Jack in terms of what they're going to do, and they're going to start out their own thing. Well, he asked a couple different questions, and they're kind of blown. Well, we got that all figured out. We read about this over here, did this.
I got dismissed pretty quick, and they started talking to themselves, and that was it.
So Jack politely smiled and nodded. So I'm gonna go back to my chicken here, and good luck to you, ladies. Hope you do well. But until you've been in business for a while and realize really start stubbing your toes all over the place, to realize, hey, you know what? Yeah, I could figure out on my own in 6 months, or I could call somebody and they give me the answer in 6 minutes. Why wouldn't I do that to make sure I can keep moving along versus having to figure it out by myself? But some folks never figure that out. I'm sure many of the folks you mentioned that you got a lot of rejection for folks who didn't want to talk to you. I'm gonna guess probably most of them are folks who weren't able to ask for help. We call them old steel guys. Being in the Cleveland area, where again it doesn't have to be a man or woman or old or young, but their mentality is more that old steel guy, curmudgeonly. Hey, I got it all figured out. I have all the answers, even though they don't.
Yells
I have
at
all
people
the answers.
and
Right?
holds all the information together, and all the stereotype of the old, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, running companies.
Right.
That kind of person.
Right.
Yeah, the old steel guys.
Right. All right, we have to head another break here, but you're gonna stick around this year for the rest of our show, which should be pretty.